Recording. All right, guys. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Christine Austin Ill Life Now channel. And today I have another visitor. We have Mike Ellerby. He is from the Texas area. All right. He actually finished number 57 in the country as a producer his very first year working in the final expense. His second year, he finished number 6. That's right. He jumped from 57 to number 6. All right. And then in his third year, he continued to go up and he was number 2 in the country. Now, Mike has been top 10 agent in the country for the last 4 consecutive years. And he now is the number 1 agent in Texas, also for those 4 years. And since starting with Lincoln Heritage, he has averaged over 26,000 per month in production, y'all. 26,000. And that's his personal production. All right. Now, he's also written over 2,400 policies in just 5 years, which is an average of 480 policies a year. And if you break that down, that's 40 families that he has helped in a month, every month, in and out. All right. So we're going to be talking about consistency, I'm sure. Now, right now, Mike has gone over 1.5 million in agent production in just 5 years. And he's on track to amass 1.5 million in income, y'all, in income within his 5 years as well. So the one thing I want to mention is that he finished 2020 as the number 2 agent in the country. And that was during a pandemic. And you guys know we are talking about with this series, the hand that you have been dealt, that you do not necessarily have to live your life according to that hand, but that you can deal a new deck and run your life right now, how God has seen it fit. And so without further ado, I want to welcome you guys to the channel. And I want to welcome you, Mike Ellerby, where we talk all about life now. So as you know the theme.
Got it.
You know the theme.
Hey, Chrissy, thank you for that introduction. And you know, the whole theme of not having to stay with what you've been dealt, the cards you've been dealt. I was thinking about that, and then I was looking at the time I've been in the business, the 5 years, and let's look at year number 1. Year number 1 could not have started without my wife. Okay, now I'm blessed because I had support. I've got support that some agents don't have. I've got a great wife at home. And when I looked at this and decided I was going to do it, she continued to work and support us while I jumped into this with both feet. So I jumped in with both feet. I didn't stick a toe in. It wasn't something I was going to do part-time on the weekend. Now I needed to replace my income, but she held up everything because she trusted me. My track record is pretty good. I've been successful in other things. So she trusted that I would make this work. But without her, you know, holding up everything while I got this going, it would have been more difficult. So at the end of our first year, 160,000, okay? So we made it work. Now, you know, compare that to a franchise, say a McDonald's. You're gonna need $1 to $2 million just to get going in assets. McDonald's has a 40, and I've looked into this because I've been looking at franchises for a while. McDonald's has a $45,000 franchise fee. And the average income for a franchise owner at McDonald's in that first year or two is about 130 grand. We spanked that. Me and my wife beat that number big time. Not to mention now that when you get that McDonald's store, you may not like the cold weather, but guess what? That store is in North Dakota. And you and your family need to pick up and move to North Dakota if you want this store. We can work this business from anywhere, any state, any place. So talking about your card theme and dealing, if I had to look at a deck of cards and say in my first year, what card would I pull for my first year?
Yes.
I'll say it was a king. First year was fantastic. So it was a king year one. Okay. Year two, I was able to help my mom. Now, when we got into year two, the income just went up, and I was really able to do some stuff with my mother, get her a new car. She's never had a new car. My mother's never had a car that nobody else has driven. Get all of her bills paid. So now she gets a Social Security check. It's small. It's only about $700 a month. But guess what she gets to do with that check? Go play bingo, go hang out with her church friends and gossip, 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 gossip. That's what she does. But she's enjoying it. She's about 80 years old. I want her to have fun her last days on this earth and not worry about any bills. This business has allowed me to do that. So at the end of the second year, oh baby, it's an A. It's an ace. Okay. It's an ace. Year three, income continues to go up. Now we're in a position where I can retire my wife. We're looking at this thing and we're saying, okay, you don't need to go work for anybody else now. You need to come over here and help me with this. My wife has lupus. She was going to work every day in pain and having to sit in a cubicle for 8 to 12 hours. She don't have to do that anymore because of this business. So year four, oh, that's an ace of spade. Ace of spade. Okay. That's year three. Year four, I became an MGA. Income continued to increase. Year four, for you spade players, the small joker. Small joker.
Yeah.
In year five, which is the year that I'm in right now, just completed year five, the number 2 producer in the country, income continuing to go up. My team is growing, got about 30 agents now. So year five, oh, that's the big joker. Okay. So
I love it.
The deck of cards. So what's 2021? What's in the future? I could throw this deck away. The way we look at it is we're going to create our own deck. See, the deck limits me to 52 cards. Well, we're going to create our own deck. There's some things out there that are higher than the big joker. So those are the things that we're going to jump on. So I just wanted to, you really provoked a lot of thought with the card thing. And I said, well, let me rate my 5 years. And that's how I rate it.
Man, I love that. I absolutely love that. You really took that and thought about how to break that down with the years that you've been in the business. And when I first thought about the cards, when that vision came to me, it was on, the life that we had before final expense, right? How we were taught, if you will, that you should, go to school, get your degree, get a nice job, wear your button up in your tie or your suits and go to work for someone else. And we've kind of completely stripped that away by being agents, working a 1099, if you will, and really having to rely on our own work ethic, right? Because everybody else usually around us are thinking we're crazy. How are you going to go work and don't know if you're going to get paid?
Right.
And so you flipped that whole thing and showed even in the business, most people don't come into the industry with a king the first year.
Right.
Even when you're looking at it that way, right? But that has a lot to do with mindset. And so now you have me thinking of some different things as to you really came in, like you said, you have your wife, she has a lupus, she was working full-time as well, but you had that. And I'm sure that was probably your biggest why as to why you ran and did over, what'd you say, 160 the first year?
Yeah, 160. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Amazing. And so you gave us a good bit, like in that short period of time, like you really gave us a lot to think about. That why is so important. And in your second to third year, she was able to stay home. She was able to say, okay, you know what? Now we have replaced her income, and now, you could take care of your life, really. She could take care of her body and deal with the different things that's going on with that and help you. And in turn, it's helping your whole household and your clients. I mean, you're helping a lot of people every single month. Absolutely. And I like to tell agents all the time, it's not just that person that is in front of you, you're helping all of their family members.
Right.
So you're not just helping 40 individuals a month, you're helping maybe 400 people a month, for real, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
with that, last year was a crazy year.
Yes.
And you still ended up #1, right?
Right.
And tell me, if you will, that transition for you, going from being in the field, because you were always a door-to-door agent, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so the door shut on all of us. I remember sitting down and getting that email stating that we were not permitted to go door to door, right? And that basically sit still. It might have been 2 days, and Lincoln turned around like, okay, now we have created a way that you can all do telesales.
Right.
Tell us, if you will, how that transition was for you mentally and how you turned that thing around for yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm so proud of what my team, I and my team and my wife, I'm so proud of what we did when this first hit, like in late March, because what I'm seeing now is that different groups around the country are trying to catch up. And I help other groups around the country. They call me and I'll do a Zoom telesales training. But here's what we did. And I don't know why we did it, but we just decided as soon as this hit, we said, okay, we got to learn telesales. We worst cased it. Our mentality was, we can't go in the field and we need to learn telesales to keep our business going. There was never a thought of, and I still hear this today, that we never said, oh, this will blow over, or it's just the flu. We never had that mentality. Our mentality was, we have got to become great at this right now, because if we don't, it's going to shut our business down. And if it doesn't, we can always go back in the field and knock on doors. We know how to do that. What we don't know how to do is telesales. So let's master it right now. We put together a script. We role play, we practice. And about the end of, about the middle of April, beginning of May, I mean, we were rolling with telesales. Not just me, my entire team. Our numbers have not fell off at all. If anything, they got better. Okay, so what I contributed to is that we said, look, let's go all in, just in case this thing is really bad and we can't get back out. And now we see 400,000 deaths later, it is bad. But we're pretty good at telesales, and we're still tweaking it. We're still making improvements, but we attacked it immediately. And I came up with a script like within days, and we started training.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so, like everybody always says, as soon as they listen to one of my videos or someone else's video and they hear somebody say something about a script, guys, we are not posting this script on this video. So I will be the one to go ahead and say that. But within your script, would you say that you guys are reading this script every call, or did you create this script as your foundation to help you gain that confidence to be able to speak to individuals over the phone?
Right. A little bit of both. We never want to come across as if we're reading, but yeah, it's the foundation. Because I can talk through it now and not even have it in front of me. So yeah, it's the foundation. There's a reason you say things in certain areas, and it's on the phone you've got to be a little bit better at gaining control. It's easier for them to hang up on you on the phone. So there's some things you need to do early on, but it's what you said. It's the basics, but it's worked pretty good for us.
I would definitely say your numbers. We're
still tweaking it. I mean, there's still adjustments I'm making. And the team will get together. We'll get together on a conference call and talk about, okay, how can we make it stronger? How can we make it better? Here's the thing. When we get through this pandemic and we're able to comfortably go back out in the field, I think that my agents are going to be so strong because they're just going to be so comfortable on the phone and going back to door knocking. They're going to be well rounded. I think it'll help a lot. So
Yeah, and that's beautiful. That's definitely beautiful. And if you don't mind me asking, how many team members do you have right now that you're working with?
well, I've got 29 or 30. Now you know how that goes.
I do.
About 6 or 7, about 8 that's actually working.
All right, so we have 8 team members. That's what well, we have 8 partners working.
Right. There you go.
Right. And so those I would assume, because yes, I'm a manager as well, those would be the ones that stayed plugged in during
Right.
this whole time to make sure
Yes.
that they did not miss a beat on changing, because you know, this was not easy for a lot of people to transition from being at the door to being on the phone.
Right.
Because this phone it's a different ball game.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right. Uh-huh.
you know, we had a pleasure of you being on our team calls and talking about, you know, really having your schedule down and understanding the mindset that goes into doing these calls, and not just, you know, if they hang up on you or you can't get them, it's not like it's a dead done deal.
That's
You
right.
know, you put them to the side for another time, you get back to them, send out the letters, you do the things that we talk about in our agency um, in order to make that work, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All
And I
right.
had, another thing too. A lot of my agents are my 8 that I'm talking about. They're older, uh, and and they're just older. They're more mature. I had agents that were going to stick with it, and they stuck with it. I know a lot of people that started telesales, but they gave up on it. They gave up on it within a week or two. Well, the agents I have, they stuck with it. I mean, some have pre-existing conditions and they just didn't want to go out,
Mhm.
so it was like they didn't have a choice. Some had, like my wife has pre-existing conditions, and I just couldn't take the chance of bringing something home to her. Um, but part of this is that you just got to stick with it. I mean, the first week or two, you can't bail out on it. And my guys, they stuck with it. We stuck
Very
with it.
good. Very
Uh-huh.
good. And here you're still being able to see the fruits of your labor. You
Yeah,
know, I always like to say that being an insurance agent, you have to be a problem solver at all times. And in 2020, you know, this in the beginning of the year, the main theme was 2020 perfect vision. And that was before we even were hit with a pandemic, right? But even though we were hit with a pandemic, we still had certain goals. And so just because that happened, it just meant that now we had to go around a little bit of an obstacle to still make our dreams reality.
that's right.
And those individuals that sat down and said, okay, wait a minute, you know, this changed everything.
Right.
But I know that I'm still supposed to be here. I know I'm still supposed to be successful. Let me move that deck of cards over, deal
Mhm.
me another deck. What am I going to do? So you guys really showed up. A lot of agents have. I definitely know within our agency, a lot of agents had their highest months on
Right.
the phone,
Right.
on
That's
the
right.
phone, you know?
Uh-huh.
Um, and I would like to add, we've made a lot more money because we weren't traveling,
Right. Right. That's right. That's
you
right.
know, you know? So
And the other thing, no, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
no,
Finish.
no, go ahead.
Uh, well, people are just more conscious now. People are looking at the news, they're seeing people dying. Uh, this thing is at a point now where somebody who had COVID. It's getting closer and closer to home. I mean, I've had a couple of cousins with COVID. I had a friend who passed away. So people are more aware of death.
Yes,
And people that may not have talked to you a year or two ago or put you off, they're more open to this conversation now.
absolutely.
So I wish
Absolutely.
we're seeing some of that. And then the other piece of this, when I first saw this and this first came up, well, folks been selling insurance over the phone for
Ever.
not forever. So can I explain uh, what we do over the phone? Yeah, of course I can. You just gotta, just train and come up with a way to do it. People been doing this isn't new. People been selling over the phone forever.
They have. They absolutely have. And the blessing is, you know, there's scripts all over the internet. You know what
Yes.
I mean? We have a script. I've seen 3 different versions of a script. And really, it is just a matter of individuals taking them and then making it their own, right?
Mhm.
But bottom line is doing the work, being consistent, being comfortable when
Yes.
you're talking to these individuals over the phone. And I would like to say listening, having your listening skills have to be all the way on point.
Yep.
Because you're not in front of them right now. You
That's
literally have to listen to what's going on in their background to say, hey, can you turn that down right now for me? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to say you're taking listening to a whole nother level. You're listening to their body language. Even though you can't see them, you're listening so deep that you can see them crossing their arms or sighing, or when you give them that quote, you can see I mean, the listening is when you're doing telesales. This is why I'm glad you brought this up. This is why people ask me, well, are you doing secure app while you're on telesales? I said, no, I'm recording everything I need to record.
Yes.
Because I do not try to do secure app while I'm on the phone, because I need to be giving these people 150% of my attention. I don't need anything that's going to take me away from what they're saying. And I'm not good enough to be doing secure app while I'm talking to them. So I do secure app after I get off the phone.
Well, actually, you are good enough because you are making sure that you are 100% in tune with your client.
Right.
And understanding that, you know, just like any other time you're taking your notes, you're just taking the notes for the information you need for the app because you know your application, right?
Right.
And then you're on the phone with the telesales team. And once you get the reference number, you're done loving on your client. At that time, you're then able to either key it in your secure app, or like I do, I usually have a PAL right before the end of business, and I'll key them all in at one time because I'm fast with data entry.
Right.
But, you know, having your system.
Yeah.
Having your system. You know, I know how to key it all in the iPad as well, but I like to be all the way into I call it a movie. I like to be engaged with that individual until I hang up.
I'm trying to make that cutoff. I want to see my money that night. Okay.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Now, my wife would tell me, she said, well, I said, hold on now. I got 10 minutes for the cutoff. She said, now, you know, we don't need that money tonight. I want to see my money tonight.
It's addictive, honestly. Yeah. It's really one of those things that you do become addicted with, but it's a beautiful thing. It really is. You know what I mean? This year is one of the years I have in my notebook. I'm actually tracking the pays, right? And so I actually put, and this is so funny for me, but because I'm going back in the field more this year and hiring more than ever, because now I got this thing down packed. Like, just if you could see it, it's like a year at a glance.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so within there, I'm writing down my pays, my net pay.
Right.
Not the gross, but the net.
That's right.
And, you know, I'm like, okay, so although we had, you know, vacation where we were able to just pick up and leave for 2.5 weeks, thank God for that. And then coming into the year, you know, working on the websites and getting things in order for the recruits, for hiring, for doing all of the things that are going to be necessary for me to hit my personal goals this year. I had already said, you know what, in February, I would like to get paid every day. And you get paid every day.
Oh, I do.
I know you do. You have to, because 40 apps plus in a month.
Yes.
Of days where we have 30 days, and, you know, the weekends we get paid Monday through Friday. And then whatever we do on the weekend, it pays us even bigger on the Mondays. Right. That's why I already see on Mondays are always bigger deposits. But how wonderful is that? Like, how has that changed you and your wife's life? How has this business changed your life?
Oh, it's changed everything. I mean, I've had some pretty good positions in corporate America, and I've made 6 figures. You know, people say 6 figures. 6 figures can be a lot of numbers. I'm 500,000 is 6 figures.
Yes, it is.
I wasn't nowhere close to that. Now my 6 figures is 100. It wasn't no 300, 400, 500. Okay, so but it's changed everything. I mean, when our advances or the money I make with those 40 apps don't have to go through any. I can invest it. I can save it. When my pay through pays for everything, and you've got money left over, you know, we both have always worked and worked hard, but like most Americans, For most of our working life, we was living from paycheck to paycheck.
If that.
Okay. Yeah, it's paycheck to paycheck. And I heard one lady saying, she was so right. She says, stop saying you live in paycheck to paycheck. You really live in, I get paid on Friday, ain't no money on Monday.
That's right.
Okay, you live in paycheck, you live in Friday
Paycheck to Monday.
Right. You get paid on Friday, you kicking it and paying bills Saturday and Sunday. Monday you out of money.
Gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Gone.
So that's not an issue now. That's just not a problem. We don't live like that anymore. And well, I tell you, the holidays, the Christmases, all of them are so much better when you're not moving money from here to here and trying to make it work.
Paying the gas bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Chris, I'm a little older than you now, so I remember back in the day, me and my wife, we've been together 30-something years. I remember when you could write a check and that check wouldn't clear for 2-3 weeks. Okay?
Well, when I was younger, it was 5 days. It was 4 to 5 days. So 2 weeks.
And we would write a check knowing we ain't had the money, but it's coming. And that's where we came from. Those days where you writing a check, hoping it don't bounce. And no, you ain't got the money in the bank, but you can't even do that now. You present somebody with a check now, they know immediately, whether you got the money or not.
That's right.
But that was back in the day. But those are the times we came from, just living check to check. But right now, those days are over. And this opportunity has allowed those days to be over.
Amen. Amen. One thing I usually ask in the beginning that I'm going to ask at the end, where did you come from to get into insurance? Like what was your niche, if you will? What did you do before insurance?
Well, I went into the military right out of high school.
Okay.
Should have went to college, wasn't ready. Big time football player, just a lot of things, a lot of family dysfunction. My mom, I wanted to help her. She couldn't, college, it was just something I put off.
Right.
Hindsight, got some regrets, but I went straight into the military, and all in all, total about 12 years in the military. I went into the military, enlisted, I got out, I went through ROTC, I got commissioned, I went back into the military. I went back in as a helicopter pilot. I flew helicopters for about 6 years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I left the military and I was in corporate America, and I worked for big food companies. I ran plants for Frito-Lay, General Mills, Pillsbury. So that's what I was doing. I was in the food business.
Okay.
The manufacturing end of it. And I was a plant manager for, I made a lot of Doritos.
Oh, so you're the reason why we can't eat just one.
That's right. That's right.
God.
That's right. And it's nothing like a Dorito coming out of the oven hot. That's the best thing in the world.
Now, it's the worst thing. It's so good.
Now, when you work in it, you can't stand it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. When you first start working in it, you eating all day long. But after about 2 weeks, you don't want to see a Dorito. You don't want to touch it, which is a good thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That is hilarious.
Yeah. So that's where I came from. Yeah. But the reason I made the flip is a good friend of mine I went to high school with. I went to visit my mom in South Carolina, and I ran into a good friend of mine, and I saw how he was living and what he was driving. And I said, "Hey man, what you doing?" And he told me he was doing insurance. And he told me about Lincoln Heritage. And I said, "Yeah, okay. Now let me go back to Texas. Let me go back to Dallas and see." I said, "Do you think they got an office in Dallas?" I didn't have any license. I don't have anything now. This is just a thought.
Right.
He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I'm sure they got an office in Dallas." So I came back to Dallas. Now I was open to an opportunity, Chrissy, because I was a little bit tired of corporate America.
Okay.
My bosses were beginning to be people I trained and younger than me. Okay. We all get to that point where your bosses are people you're training and they're younger than you. Mm-hmm. And what really did it for me is I went to the leadership of my company and I told them I wanted to get into sales. I've been instrumental in making the product for years and I knew I could sell it. Well, they kind of said no to that we don't think that sales is a good spot for you. So you know I'm loving it now when I'm doing pretty good in sales.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Very well. You're probably making more than the daggone owner.
right.
You know.
So
But
that was when they told me they wouldn't even consider me for sales. And I said, look, I'll stay on this side of the business, but just give me a couple of accounts and don't even pay me. Just give me a couple of an accounts so I can prove to you that I can sell this product. They said no to that. I got out of there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I got out of there and I jumped into this. I went to the office in Dallas. I had no license. I talked to the MGA there. I told him I would get my license in a few weeks and I'd be the top producer in Texas. He probably didn't believe that, but I did that. So,
Okay, good.
and it was on from there. I mean, I never started this part-time or on the weekend. It was all in from the very beginning.
I love it. All in from the very beginning. Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Man, this has been great. This has definitely been great. I want to end with my bonus question.
Okay.
You kind of alluded a little bit earlier when you had the deck of cards. You said you could just go ahead and throw this thing out for 2021. But what are you looking forward to in 2021?
I want a bigger agency. I want more people. I need to create some more I need to create some more. This ain't going to be the proper grammar, but I need to create some more me's, some more me. Okay, I want to help and mentor and coach some other people to six-figure incomes in this business.
Yeah.
I've got 2 agents now that have made 6 figures over the last couple of years. So I've done it already with those guys, but I want to duplicate that again and again and again and again. I don't think things will ever go completely back to the way they were after this pandemic. Okay. Right. Of course, first we know that there's probably going to be another pandemic sometime down the road.
Already.
Right. Mm-hmm. These companies are realizing now that they can do it with less and people can work from home. And there's people who are looking for opportunities because they don't want the next pandemic to hit them and they be laid off or not have a job. Chrissy, you know what we do is pandemic proof.
It is.
Especially if you get good on this thing is pandemic, is recession proof, is pandemic proof. Mm-hmm. And people, this pandemic should have woke a lot of people up that job is not going to be the thing for you. You're going to need to get something like this. And so 2021, yeah, I want to recruit. I want to get a bigger agency and I want to see more people making 6 figures.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. There's nothing like being able to help someone else see that everything that they need, they already have inside, right? That they too can have this success regardless of what others may think or feel, or even what they think. Because, I'm here. This was definitely not somewhere I wanted to be, thought I'd be, never even thought about it, right? And now I'm loving it.
Yep.
9 years later.
Yes.
But man, thank you for your time. Because I know you are a busy man. This is Saturday. This is income producing day. So thank you. I appreciate you taking this time out with us just to share, your story and how, there's so many people, different shapes, sizes, colors, nationalities, live in different states, different ages that can make their lives what they want it to be. And I always say by the means of God first, family second, career third. Yep. You're making it happen, right? Making it happen.
Create your own hand. You can create your own hand. You don't have to accept the hand that you were dealt.
Yes.
I was raised by a single mom on welfare, and I remember going to the grocery store with food stamps. That was the hand I was dealt, but I created my own hand. Create your own hand.
That's right. That's right. Man, thank you. And so I'm going to end this, guys. If you found some value in this video, make sure you give a thumbs up, like it, share it. At the end, of course, in the description box down below, I'm going to have all of Mike's information down there for you. So if you found some value in what he was talking about and need to connect with him, you will have his information. All right. He is in a different state. I will make sure to note the states that he is hiring in, because as you heard, he is building, y'all. He is building and he wants to share his passion with you guys. I don't know how many of you folk hit me up trying to get me to hire you in these different states. Y'all better pay attention. All right, check the description box down below. And I'm gonna end it with behind every success is effort. Behind every effort is passion. And behind every passion is someone with the courage to try. Peace.